Welcome to Weekday Weird.
There's tons of unsolved mysteries out there. Witches still exist.
What about monsters?
Do you believe in ghosts?
Bigfoot is not out there.
Bigfoot is definitely out there. UFOs are real.
UFOs might be real.
Do you believe in conspiracies?
I consider myself a conspiracy theorist.
I want to believe in all these case files.
Trust no one. The government lies to you.
We're just two brothers exploring the unexplained, mysterious, and spookiness that lives among us.
They're watching you, and they want to kill you. This is the story of John Lang, and this freaks me out.
You're creepy with this, man. Yeah, when you brought this to my attention, I think you brought it to my attention a year ago.
Yeah, probably long, yeah.
Why haven't we talked about this?
Dude, this case, if you really look into it.
And I don't think a lot of people know. So we're definitely going to, this might be a little longer Weekday Weird. We like to keep them short here for the Weekday Weirds. But this one, we could probably make a whole podcast on it. I know we probably not, there's so much you could talk about it. But yeah, you know more about this than I do. And this is kind of creepy. Give a backstory for sure.
So how I found this, I was looking up just creepy videos on YouTube, and I stumbled upon his YouTube channel, John Lang. And if you look, I think his name is Lang Marine. And he had video cameras outside of his house videotaping almost like a Ring doorbell type deal, where he would video his front of the house and would review these tapes, and a lot of interesting and weird things happened. He was from Fresno, California, 51 years old, and how this all came about was because he, in 2009, discovered or, found out about the license plate scam that the Fresno Police Department was conducting at that time.
Supposedly doing, yeah. And he was an activist that he said was harassed by the Fresno law enforcement over the period of several years, starting in 2009. And from the scam, and supposedly this scam, which what they would do was they would have an unmarked car go into a parking lot in low income area or wherever they thought maybe high crime was, and go around and look at and run license plates. So
yeah, they have I think they got away from it, but they would have a scanner or a license plate reader on the back of a car, and it would read your license plate.
And then they would go from there and be like, all right, well, this guy has a warrant. This guy, it could be a number of different things, right?
Correct.
You would know more about this than I do.
Correct. It could be anywhere from, warrants, traffic fines, stolen car, anything.
And then they would relay that information, and then a marked car would pull them over eventually.
Yeah.
And this would generate a decent amount of money, supposedly. I'm going to say supposedly probably a lot on the show. I don't know, because there is a lot that we don't know. We're getting a lot of it from his YouTube channel, which when you showed me, some of it's creepy, man.
Yeah. So yes, from 2009, he said he was harassed by the Fresno Police Department. He actually opened up a harassment case with the Fresno Police Department internal investigation,
which I'm sure didn't sit well.
I'm sure it didn't sit well with anybody.
Even if you go back and do a brief check of the Fresno law enforcement agency, and you have some dates back, we could just give you to the 70s.
Yeah, to the 70s.
Corruption in this law enforcement department.
I'm sure, but if you look at any big law enforcement departments, there's going to be corruption and bad apples.
Yeah, but this one had I don't know. You would know more than I would on this topic because of your line of work, but 200 lawsuits in the last decade?
That doesn't seem like a lot to me.
No, it doesn't?
No, just because of the simple fact that if you do have a police department the size of Fresno, that people open up lawsuits. They file lawsuits almost daily on cops.
I guess because they see a lot of money that they generate.
That, and they can say they harassed me, they did this to me, and 9 times out of 10, they're all unfounded. No, I'm sorry, that didn't happen.
Yeah, a lot of these cases too, if you look at them, they were kind of thrown out and there's not enough evidence, things like that. But there is a history in this law enforcement department of corruption, supposedly.
Supposedly, yes.
Yeah. So when you look at that, and then he brought out this scam, he brought it to attention. You know, he even went to, I guess, a newspaper and talked about this, and he became a real advocate for, you know, like, what the hell's going on with this.
And like, it does seem like, though, I mean, from watching some of his videos, that he is paranoid. Like, it does seem that way. Like, because some of the videos, like the very first one he posted of like a truck like passing by, you know, twice. He lives on a one-way street in Fresno, or he did. In Fresno, California. So maybe the truck was lost. I don't really know. Like that first video.
Yeah, I don't want to give out the address.
Yeah, it doesn't seem.
You could find this up, because what we're going to link up is his YouTube channel, which you can, and see. All right, here's a thing too that I have a question. It started in 2009.
That's when he found the corruption.
Right. So, and then the ball rolled in. I mean, I guess it started ramping up where he felt threatened enough
after he
put up
opened up
video cameras.
Yeah, after he opened up the investigation with their, you know, on harassment in 2015, that's when he said it started to ramp up. And
I guess, and that's pretty much the same time when he put up video cameras, it seems like. And because then you could watch it. And there's a couple on here that I want to describe and talk about, because it's really eerie. And then granted, if you look at the descriptions,
he does write a lot underneath like the descriptions of what the video like is showing you, and that's from him in his own words, or what he perceives it to be.
Right. And this is where kind of, you know, we looked at it and said, all right, there is some sense where it does seem like he is paranoid. You know, like everybody's watching him. But if this was happening to you,
like, yeah, of course you would look at every little thing and say like, shit, like that's it.
Yeah, because you were saying like the first video that he posted, you know, that
he's basically like the first video he's posted, he's mowing his lawn, he's cleaning up his yard,
and this Ford silver truck just drives by, kind of parks next to his neighbor, and then all of a sudden, I guess, does a loop.
Yeah, and then like because a couple minutes later.
Yeah, it is a one way. So if people look at this, and you can Google the house and you can see it, it's still boarded up from the incident that occurred, which we'll talk about what actually happened to this gentleman. But it is a one-way street, and it does seem like it is pretty busy from his video cameras and just from the activity that we found on Google Earth.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. And well, here's like another thing that's kind of funny. Like Google Earth like stopped in front of his house. What you know, I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Like after the incident, you know, because it's from a year later.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not like saying there's a connection, but it's kind of funny. But yeah, like the first video, yeah. I mean, that could just be a guy like lost, just trying to find a house. If you
become familiar and you're in that, like, you're in the community and you know who is law enforcement and who isn't.
Sure,
it does seem a little strange. There's a couple of videos like the one where the van.
See, now this was the one I originally saw that I told you to watch,
and I did.
And it's a minute and 40 seconds long, and the camera shows a black minivan with the back door slider open and a guy filming. It looks like a very professional camera.
Yeah, it looks like if a news van came to a scene, whatever it may be, and this is what they would be filming on.
And the driver is talking on a cell phone, and
there's a passenger and there's a guy in the back with the actual video camera, and the slider on the minivan door is open.
Yes, and it's filming directly at his house.
It is.
Which, okay, you can't. I don't think you would be paranoid at this. Like, why are you filming a house? And he says, or he describes the camera as a thermal imaging camera.
Right. It could be possible, man. In 2015, I'm sure they had that technology, because at one point, like, they closed the door.
Correct.
And then, like, all right, are they still filming inside? Like, why would you, if you pulled up in front of somebody's house, here's another thing too. Like, why would you open the back, like, to the minivan door with a sliding door and just have people see that you're actually filming and not filming anything besides, like, this dude's house? And it clearly is. Like, at this point, I'm not even being paranoid. I'm not even throwing out conspiracies. This is exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, it's exactly what they're doing. Maybe they didn't realize he had cameras. I don't know. But
it seems like he has pretty high-tech cameras, because he's zooming in, he's zooming out, he's zooming in on, you know, like, law enforcement and everything like that.
Like, the only thing I would say about that video is, like, maybe they wanted to break into his house and they wanted to see if he was home. Like, maybe it is a thermal imaging camera and they wanted to see, like, who is home, like, maybe the inside of the house. I'm not sure.
Right. And from the neighbors, too, that they did say like this was kind of like a shady area, but it has been up and coming. Like
Sure.
it's been getting better, supposedly, from some neighbors' descriptions. But there was another video too where
The cops are just standing around.
that was bizarre, man. And I don't know like what that really is, or if there's more to it. Like there's cops outside just like sitting on the road, and then like a bunch of them.
This one
pull
was
up.
like, he said right after he filed his internal affairs complaint, they basically, a group of them
would just take breaks.
would take breaks in front of his house and just stand there for a while. I mean, I could kind of see this from like the police department's like kind of view. Like, you want to open up an investigation on us? All right, man, we're gonna mess with you now. Like, I can see that, but
Yeah, in the video I can count 2 cop cars and eight cops.
like again, like,
Yeah, but that goes back to like you're protecting our community and you're supposed to be doing this. If you're not doing anything wrong, like why would you give a shit?
Yeah,
And
I
then
don't-
at the same time, like this is kind of like scare tactics or intimidation.
and
So,
they do all look over at his house.
yeah, so that makes me wonder like, all right, now maybe there is something to this guy's story. Like we saw the van, which is filming his house, and then now we just have cops hanging out.
And he did say like they would, when he wasn't home, break into his house.
Yeah.
I don't know how he exactly knew or how he exactly like,
Well, here's the thing, right?
thought that they did.
In a lot of stuff that I read, they said he had cameras inside.
And yeah, but you never
But
see
you never
it.
see that. He never posted anything like that. If they did break into his house, I don't know if he was going through some legal stuff too with like lawyers where he couldn't disclose much of this.
Maybe.
Because you don't even see cops going into his house or even like going through the gate, like in any of his videos.
No.
I don't know. Maybe there is a video out there that got lost that hasn't been uploaded. Because most of them, I mean, when they're blatantly doing like with their own cop cars and uniforms and standing outside,
Yeah.
like it's kind of obvious. But then at the same time, when you have these different vans that pull up,
Yeah, like the garbage truck.
right, the garbage truck that kind of just stops in like the dead of night
Yeah,
in front of his house.
Like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, did people not like this dude? Was there more to the story about it? Because then this is really where it takes a turn. A couple days before, spoiler alert, I guess. I mean, I feel bad saying it, but he ends up dead.
He ends up dead on January 20th, 2016.
Yeah, and another crazy thing too, because this is public record, so we could look at it, and we have from the county of Fresno.
Yeah, there was an autopsy done on his body, and you could see like how he died, what they saw from his wounds,
And what they deemed like was the actual cause of the event. So the manner of the death, they claimed it was suicide.
correct.
And 2 days, I think it was 2 days before, he tweeted out or he posted saying, "They're out to get me now. This is getting really serious."
Yeah, pull up that tweet because I'll read it, because that was a very ominous tweet. A couple days before he supposedly kills himself, he tweeted out basically what was going to happen to him, or what he like thought was going to happen.
Yeah. And this, it doesn't make sense too. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I mean, here's a tweet if you want to read it.
It's from January 14th, so 6 days prior. And he says, "Just wanted to give you guys a heads up. If anything happens to me in the next day or two, it will be a result of the Fresno Police Department. My neighbor and an employee at my job at Payless Brakes and Tires on Blackstone." Basically like saying like he knew what was gonna happen. He feared that they were gonna kill him. And a couple days later, he winds up dead from a supposedly fire in his house and 3 stab wounds that they say were self-inflicted.
Yeah, and originally I saw some reports, but I couldn't verify it. Obviously, when you look at the coroner's report, it says one thing, but then you hear reports when they first came out that he was stabbed in the front and back.
Yeah.
But then they said it was only stabbed in the front. And if you read, I'm not going to go over the whole thing because you could read his whole thing. They talk about the manner of the death, what they found, what they didn't find. And
Correct.
I'll link this in the show notes for everybody if they really want to read about this. But he was 51 years old. He was born in Ohio. The investigation, he died on January 20th, 2016. And it lists his address so that people could find his address if you really want to do. And they say the cause of death was inhalation of smoke and soot due to the fire.
Correct.
And then here's like
multiple stab wounds.
Yeah, contributing to the factor. So if you're going to say, I don't know, man, it gets eerie because if you look at his tweet and then you look, days later, he ends up dead. It makes you wonder, but it also makes you wonder the mental state that he's in.
Correct. And here's like another thing, which I don't know. I guess it's easy for us to say now. Like, if you really thought that, like, why wouldn't you just leave the area for like a little bit?
Right.
But so like, was he like mentally disturbed and like did really like set his house on fire and kill himself?
A lot of people claim that he was.
Maybe he was. I'm not sure, but when you look at like the security camera footage that he has from his house, like a lot of things like add up to the fact. I don't know, but it adds up to the fact that maybe something was going on.
Yeah.
Because like, why would all this stuff kind of happen in a short time frame?
Right.
And then him wound up dead.
Well, yeah, and I always get back to the point, like, all right, if it started in 2009 and it slowly started ramping up, that was quite a number of years.
Yeah, 7 years.
To actually then end up this. I mean, I don't know what else what else could he bring to the table besides, like, just letting everybody know that they're doing the scam? And how did he come into this information? We don't know.
No, you don't know.
It doesn't see, unless I didn't find that article about it, but you don't know about this. And I guess my final thoughts on this is, yes, looking at his YouTube channel and just looking at a few videos, not all of them. You don't have to go through the whole, I mean, there's not many of them.
No, there's not.
But the van one, which is the thermal imaging threat, intimidation from law enforcement, that's a little like crazy.
The garbage truck van, I would say, is a little bit.
And just having like a police officer just standing out in the front of your house.
For no apparent reason.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, less than 3 years later, you end up dead, And like he even talks about his neighbor, and which was the funny thing, like the very last video that he posted,
the cleaning people going to his neighbor's house.
Yeah, so that also makes you wonder too, like did his neighbor have something out for him? Like how is his neighbor connected into this?
He did say in one of the descriptions in his video that he did think the neighbor was like planted by the police department.
To like watch him?
Yeah.
I mean,
I really don't know, man.
Yeah, because his last video that he did post, and it's only 2 years old, that you have this carpet cleaner guy doing something, kind of looking around, having a cigarette, doing something, and then puts something in the neighbor's mailbox. So was that like kind of the hit contract? Was it? It's crazy, right?
It is
like,
crazy,
The
man.
more you look at it and the more you watch the videos, and that's what I would say.
Do you want to get a camera for your house now?
Yeah. Like, I don't know if I'm doing anything crazy. We're just talking about this kind of stuff, so I don't know if people would come after us. But it does make you think, like, if you really did something to have, like... But in the end, this did nothing for him. He videotaped it, and it was creepy, but it didn't help save his life.
No.
So, I don't know. The only thing I could say is there might be more to the story than what we see at the surface. So, watch the videos. Leave your comments.
Let us know what you think. And if you are from the Fresno area or have information on this, call us up, email us, let us know, because I want to know more information about this.
Yeah, this is creepy for sure. So turn on those video cameras and let us know what you find. And until next time,
stay spooky. Thank you for listening to Weekday Weird, brought to you every Wednesday. The unexplained, the unsolved, and bone-chilling tales.